Hello everyone, I am Seth. Welcome to another installment of whatever this channel is. Right now it's Nightwatch testing framework. Could be Cypress in the future, but right now, Nightwatch. This episode, I'm going to focus on page objects. Started that in the last video. I'm going to continue it now. And this one's going to be really easy. Last time, we talked about setting up the elements of a page object. This time I'm going to tell you how to retrieve the selector from a page object. And this could be useful if you need to get the selector out of the page object and use it in a different function. So we're just going to do that really quick. Okay, so last time, just to recap, we created a page object. First, our page objects are located under this path, page objects right here. And you can see that page objects folder right here. And we created a page object called navigation. That is the navigation menu. We created 3 parts of this navigation menu: the logo, the home, and contact. And just to flip over here to this web page, this is the home contact link right here. And I think a login or whatever it was. And here is the logo over here on the left. So that's what these elements represent. So last time we went into actually using this navigation menu object. So we went to the page, we instantiated this navigation object, and we used it. We got the navigation menu, click, and use this little @ symbol to click the contact menu. And that contact thing represents this nav, li, nth child, whatever CSS selector you have. So it obscures it. 99% of the time, you never need to access that selector object. But sometimes you do. Why would you need that CSS selector? Well, you know, you get a lot of the APIs here, like .click and quite a few things, but not every single API is available directly through this page object. So the browser, one right here, has a ton more APIs than are available to the nav menu object right here. This nav menu has a subset of all the APIs you can access here in the browser. So if you want to use an API that's defined in the browser, needs a CSS selector, you can't do this @ contact thing with it. You need to be able to get the selector and pass it off to somewhere else. So I'm going to create a contrived example here to show it to you. And we'll do it really fast, and it's very simple. And it's also something that's not quite documented easily. I had to do some trial and error when I first figured it out, so I figured I'd share this with you because I hit it as soon as I started doing my testing. Figure it would be very helpful to just share this with you. So get selector from page object. Element. Page objects element. And I always do async. Why not? Need to pass in the browser object, and let's define this test. And for this one, we actually don't need to go to the web page or do anything. All I'm going to do is show you like a console output of what this, actually we could do a little example of it. So I'll just set this up. I'm going to start simple. I'm just going to show you how to get the selector. Then I'll show you an example of using that selector and passing it to the browser object. I feel like I'm not making any sense whatsoever. Stick with me. My ramblings will finally coalesce into something that makes sense. Stick with me. Stick with me. Okay. So let's get this navigation menu again. So const nav menu. And we're going to do the browser dot page to give us the page elements. And ours is named navigation. Basically mirrors whatever you named it. So we named it with the capital N, navigation. That's how it is mirrored here, and that's how it's named. Now that we have that object, I'm going to console.log the selector object. So let's see how we're going to get that. So we got the nav menu. And first thing, this part is documented. So I'm going to show this to you. This is under, if you go to the API page on Nightwatch.js and you look at this API, and on the left, you go all the way down here, you see there's a page object here. And clicking on that will bring you to this page. So here are the modules, and it's describing the things that you can define. So we described an elements. So right here we have elements. But if you go further down, it goes to page object instance. Here's the things you can do with the page object instance. So here we can see elements. So let's try that out. Nav menu dot elements. And I'm going to do a different type of logging here. Console.dir will give us, will log out an object for you. Better than console.log. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Actually, I'm going to make this be the only thing it runs. So it.only, make only this test run. And look, here we go, npx and Nightwatch-E for Chrome. And we're going to give it the path to this test, which is the nav menu.ts. Test nav menu.ts. We run this, it should log everything out. So let me expand this terminal here and woo, look at all this. Look at all of this stuff. Wow, you know what? I found that none of this is actually helpful at all. But if you look a little bit closer here, the thing that is helpful, you can see that logo is there. If we go further down, I saw it. Oh, there's home. Yeah, so there's home, and then the next one would be contact. So each of these are the different elements defined in there. And but we're getting into the guts of this stuff, and we don't really need to get into the guts. So let me actually simplify this a little bit. Let me minimize that terminal. So what we want to do is just get the selector. So I'm going to cut to the chase here and not show you all of that output, which is not helpful anyway. But we want the selector for logo, and that should return hash nava. So dot logo, and what we want to do is do dot selector, and that will return the selector. So let's run this again. I'm going to maximize this. Okay, there we go. So it ran, and here we see it. Now Nava. So that is how you get the selector from what you define in your elements. So just to reiterate here, what we were trying to do is get this elements from a page object. And now I will, let's see, use this in a very arbitrary way. Just to give you an example, this isn't how I would actually use it, but just for fun's sake. So this will be the, I'll just assign this to a value like logo selector there. Just to save some typing on that. And then after we like navigate to that home page, we can click that selector, and it's not going to do anything except go back to the home page, so we won't see much, but this is just to show you. Let's see, await, we are awaiting all these things, and now to await browser.element. And here we can pass that logo selector. and dot. And you saw some different things like click and hold, right click, double click. I don't know. Let's try right clicking. So left click. Is there a left click? What does click and hold do? I don't know. Click and hold, I don't think is part of. I don't think it's a part of the regular API that you would get from browser objects. So let's give that a try. I've never used it before. Don't know what's going to happen. And then I'm probably going to do a little pause here just to see what's going on. And this will just cause the whole app to pause. Let's give it a go. Rerun the test. Don't know what's happening. It clicked and hold. So yeah, I didn't really do much of anything, but this is just an example. You can get like click and hold. I don't believe is part. I could be wrong. I don't think is part of. I don't think you could go await nav menu dot click and hold. Nav menu dot click and hold at logo. I'm not sure you can do this. Again, every time I do these videos, I end up going off into the weeds. I'm like, what does that do? Oh, I guess you can do click and hold. I'm totally wrong. So just don't listen to anything I say, ever. But I think I got the point across here is just use the, yeah, if you need the actual CSS selector, this is how you get it. All right. That was a really horrible, awful video. Why did I put you guys through this? I don't know. I just know that I was going through my testing and I really needed to figure out for a couple scenarios how to get that selector from my page object because I didn't want to redefine the selector. That's kind of the point of a page object, is to encapsulate all those selectors and like common actions you have around a page or a component on the page. You want to make it reusable and you want to obfuscate all the like funky details so your tests are easier to read. So being able to get that selector out really just helps keep things encapsulated even when you need to use it outside of that page object. So I've hit it a few times. You might hit it, but most of the time I'll be using this like @ symbol when you're using a page object, 99% of the time. But that 1% of the time, what I just showed you is really, really helpful. And that's it. Yeah, just to recap, just showed you how to get the CSS selector from a page object instance. Not super useful, but you might need it. Thank you for sticking with me through this rambling. I thought I was going to get straight into the point a lot faster than I did, but no, I ramble. Welcome to my YouTube channel, the channel of testing and rambling. All right. Thank you very much for dealing with my rambling. You all are wonderful. I love the comments I've been seeing, even for the people that thought this was a UI framework and not a testing framework. I still love your comments. So please leave a comment. Doing the page object stuff because somebody else that was watching asked about page objects. So if you have a question, I'd love to hear it. And I'd love to see if I can cover it. And if I can't, I will try to learn it and just show you what I learned. That's it. Take care. See you next time. Bye.